In this video tutorial, we're going to be going over how to utilize the button widget within the EliteWorks architect. Now, in order to add the button widget onto our website, we're going to go to Widgets in our left-hand menu. We're going to find button, and then we can select the different type of button that we want to use. So a basic button is going to be kind of your standard button you see. We've got the buttons for the left and right icons where you can control what the icon displays as, and then we've got the add to product button, which has some different functionality. In this video we're going to go over just the basic button, and you should be able to apply these tips and tricks or how to use it amongst the other buttons. So if I go ahead and drag a button out, now the button itself is going to be completely attached to the widget container. So if I resize the button or resize the container, it'll resize the button itself. Now, when it comes to the button, it's a pretty basic widget, but there's quite a few things that you can do with it. It's going to be one of your most utilized widgets amongst your sites when you're redirecting to pages, driving page links, or driving information. Now, from the standard button, we've got our themes menu. So if I click on themes, it's going to give me a list of global themes that we've created for you that you can use, or you can create your own themes for these buttons, and we'll show you how to do that. Then we've got our styles. This is the styles menu is where you're going to create how your button looks, what happens when they hover over it, color of text, color of background, your borders, etc. Now if we go to the settings menu, the settings menu is how we're going to control what the button says as far as the text inside and the functionality of the button. So basically, where are we linking it to? Is it going to a page? Is it just sitting there and looking pretty? What is the button doing is what's going to happen in your settings. And then we've also got of course your responsive setting, and then we've got the clone. So first let's go to a themes. If I've dragged the button out and it's pulled the default blue. Now let's say I want to change how this button is affected. So if I click on the square ghost, hover, round to solid. So if I click on this and click done, you can see now it's changed how the styling of my button acts. Now if I want to see what this button does within the builder, I can double click and it will actually activate the button. So you can see here as I hover my mouse, it's showing me the effect that it will have on a live screen. So this particular button theme goes from a ghost style, so transparent fill, and then a square edges to a rounded border when I hover over it. So if I want to use this button, but let's say I don't want to utilize the color that it comes with. Now to change color, we're going to go into the styles menu, and then I get to pick which color I want. So first let's start with the container, and let's say I want this border color to be different. So I'll click here, and then if I go to background, you can see it's set to transparent, but if I go to border, you can see we kind of have that grayish blue color that it pulled in by default. So I can click on my color palette, I can pick the color by dragging, and you can see the color updating in the background there. If I go to a yellow or a green, we can see that changing. I can go to swatches and go to some pre-made colors. Now these colors were really picked based off of popularity on how they're utilized through websites. So these are some popular visual appealing colors that you can utilize. Like if we want to use this nice lighter teal blue, we can pick that. Now what happens though when I want to change the hover style? So I've got my blue. If I double click, you can see though that it goes back to kind of that darkish gray blue. Well, what if I want it to stay the teal blue that I've used? So I'll go into my styles. We're going to go into the container, and then on my left hand menu you can see hover styles. Now if I click on hover styles and change it here, it's going to affect the way that your button looks, or widget for that matter, when the mouse is hovered over that particular widget or item. So if I go to border, you can see that I have the border color here. Now our color picker, these top colors, will keep the most latest colors that you've used. So you can see here we've got this nice blue color that we've already used, so we can click that as it's saved. And then on this one, the background color also becomes solid because it's going from transparent to solid. So we'll click here, we'll click the blue, and then we will make sure that you click done when you're at the end. Now if I double click, you can see that it maintains that blue color. Now let's say I wanted to change the text color and not be white. Let's say we wanted to make it yellow. Again, I go to styles, but this time I'm going to go to inner text, and I'm going to click on text, and you can see here we've got text color, and let's make this our blue. This is just in our normal styles, so when it's just sitting there. Now let's go to hover styles, and let's say when we hover, instead of white we want it yellow, and we'll make it yellow, and then make sure we click done. Now if we double click on our widget, you can see when we hover we now have yellow text on our teal colored button. Now let's add a link to this. If I go to settings, well, and before we add a link, let's give it a name. Let's say we're going to link it to product A. And we're going to click add link. Now this is going to open up the link menu. Now this link menu is going to be the same across all widgets, so it's going to be familiar to you. Now from here we can pick what we want to link to. So if I want to link to a product or product A, I can click on it and I can go to the product that I want to select. So if I click on, let's do just product 1, we'll click done, and let's change this naming to product 1 and click done. Now I can go to publish, or then I can view it live, so click view live. Now notice when I hover I get a link, and if I click on it, it's going to open up my product that I had because I've linked to it. Now when it comes to the links themselves within the builder, they are disabled, so I can't click on the button and have it linked to a page inside the builder. The only time that these links are going to be active is when you're viewing it under a live page. Now if we go into our styles one more time, the other thing that we can do with buttons besides kind of changing the border, so if I want to make it circle, this is where we would change it within the border, and we can do the border radius, and you can see how it goes from a circle to a square as far as the edges are concerned. Now what if I want to make a circle button? Well, I can drag my radius out so it's rounded, and then I can drag it to be a circle. Okay. So that's how we can adjust and make your circle buttons and change it visually. Now those are some quick tips and tricks that you can use while playing with your button widgets and utilizing the button widgets within your site. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to our support group, and we will see you guys in the next video.